Absolute thriller from Northwest Stadium. I got to see it in person in stadium with my boy Ed Oliver and Lil Rio on Sunday. It's Tuesday, so you know we got to bring on Lake Lewis Jr. to talk about everything. Let's get to it. As we always do on a Tuesday. Not so many victories to talk about this year, but it's Misery Tuesday. Friend of the show, friend in real life, NFL insider who covers the team the best, Lake Lewis Jr. How you doing this morning, man?
What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm lovely, man. I was up there Sunday night. It was a fun game, and for me, the most ideal outcome.
Yeah, I mean, because I know what you're going at. You want that draft pick. So you want the draft pick, but you also want them to serve notice that this is what it could have been like, you know.
Mhm.
And that was even without Jayden, you know. So I think over the next, what, 4 or 5 games, they have a chance to serve notice to the NFC East that don't think we've forgotten. This is just one of them years. But yeah, man, I thought the outcome the other night was favorable for everybody who wants to get that high draft pick.
I think with the it goes with the plot at this point. At this point of the season, competitive games where you show signs of what it could have been if the team was healthy, and they just keep finding ways to lose it. So I want to start here before we circle and go to all the details of the nitty gritty that took place on the field. I thought it was the correct decision to go for two in overtime as a 3-8 football team. Did you think that was the correct decision?
Yeah, of course, I did. I had no problem with it. Part of me is like I would have kicked the field goal and extended overtime, but it was so late in overtime. Even if you had, kicked the extra point, it wouldn't have been a whole lot of time to get the ball back. So do you want to play for a tie? Go through all that for a tie? So Dan Quinn and company made the decision to go for two and get the win, and they came up a play short. But it was funny because in the locker room after the game, I was with Ani Donna and Candy and Candy Waller, and we were talking about and Felix Trammell, all fam there.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about, what would you have done? And Felix says, I think 8 out of 9 times. I'm sorry, eight or 9 times out of 10, you go for it. Jeremy Reeves walks by and said, but blank that. He said 50 times out of 50 times you go for two. So
Mm-hmm.
the players were cool with it.
Yep, the play, and they should have been because I'm sorry, 3-8 football team, like it's already been a hard fought game. Our defense ain't stopping us. So I don't know if anyone realized how easy the Broncos got down the field in overtime. In 4 plays, they were already in goal. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure what we thought we was about to stop. All they would have needed was a field goal at that point. You have it in your hands. The offense is hot. The offense was so hot we got a deep touchdown wiped off the board. We rushed back to the line as soon as the penalty flag was picked up and went right back down there. Debo down the sideline. It felt nice to see the team have wide receivers again, but I think anyone questioning the decision to go for two, I think they're off on this one.
Nah, I mean, and that's the thing. It also showed you that they're not playing for draft picks. They're playing to win the game. And that's what you want. You want them to always put their best foot forward. I agree with you, Rio. It was brilliant to call it because, yeah, you kicked the extra point and it's tied up. Denver was going to go down the field because they had been doing it all game. They
Yep.
did it. They did it before halftime. They did it in the third quarter. They did it in the fourth quarter. They did it in overtime. So it was the right call. It just came up a play short.
Yep. And the play was a perfect play call. Jeremy McNichols was wide as open, but Nick Bonito um, unblocked, got right to Mariota, and he didn't have the room to fit it to him. But the play call was perfect, and it just didn't work out for it. That play was
It
like
startled
the
Marcus.
epitome of this season.
Yeah, and it looked like Marcus was startled. Like
Yes.
I don't think he expected for Nick Benito to get in there that fast
That
so
boy was
quickly.
there.
Yeah, he was on top of him before he could do it.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, when Marcus threw the ball, he was actually turning to kind of shield himself from getting hit. And then of course he knocked it down. It was a great play. Sometimes you got to chalk those up too. You got to give credit where credit was due. It was a great defensive play. It was a really good offensive play call. It just didn't work out.
It just didn't work out, but I'm not mad at it. I'm excited. First of all, on a school night, being able to show my son again, he's never seen a primetime game before. I know
Yeah.
Jade didn't play, but he's never seen a primetime game. He got to see the light show and the player intros for the first time in the building, and it's his first overtime game. He had a blast, but like a lot that I've been through as a fan, I saw his face when that 2-point conversion. You saw my story. That boy looked like he
I did.
got canceled this year.
I was gonna say dejected, you know what I mean? But hey, listen, at the end of the day, I keep telling people, I'm not in the park. You and me differ on if they should play Jaden or not, because I think they should.
Oh, they're going
But
to. Yeah.
yeah, and they have to. They have to.
Mhm.
But if you go back just 2 years ago, Washington had a clunker of a season, and
Yep.
look who they walked away with. So
Mhm.
if they can get the equivalent of that on the other side of the ball, because I think we all know they don't need to look at anything but an edge rusher in this year's draft if they keep that first round pick, because Rio they were only bringing three guys most of the game, and I'm like,
Yep.
what's going on, man? We got to get somebody out there. So yeah, so that's the silver lining in all this. Is there any debate that they're playing better on defense, even though they're still getting moved on? They look a little better, but it's just not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough, and we just don't have the bodies or the horses right now. We just don't
They don't.
have it. So, going into things specifically, observation number one for me: Terry McLaurin is back. Oh my God! Like, and him going for 100 in the touchdown does not tell the true story. Marcus didn't throw him a couple opportunities. He was on Sertain's ass late.
Bro, I said it, and I'll say it again. Patrick Surtain was he was a fire hydrant, bruh, and Terry was the dog. You know
He,
what they do
he
to the
was
fire
dogging.
hydrant. He
Mm-hmm.
was. He was killing him,
Yep.
and it just goes to show you what could have been, and that's the part. I keep saying this. It's not about the catches and the plays that Terry made. It's also about the attitude that he brought out
Mm-hmm.
there. You know what I'm saying? The juice, the energy. That's what this team has missed all year. They've missed their leader. They've missed the guy that makes things happen. And listen, the best thing about silver lining about this season with Terry not playing is he'll be a year older next year on that new contract, but with less miles because he hasn't played a lot this year. So if you can pull that into next year, and now I think a guy like Traylon Burks plays into their future as well. Perhaps you do re-sign Debo, which I think they will, because I know Debo wants to be back here. Now you're talking, okay? Now you're seeing some things, and then oh by the way, Luke McCaffrey and Jalen Lane add to that wide receiver room, so you're not going into it like reaching.
Mm-hmm.
But what Terry showed was that looked like an elite receiver to me, man. That's what elite receivers do. When their numbers called, they make plays, and it looked like they had him on a pitch count early, right?
They did. They did.
They
Every time he would run a route, they'd pull him out
they
for a
took on.
couple plays. Yep.
Absolutely. And I was getting a little upset about that because I'm like, man, there was times I looked up and the lineup was Chris
Nasty.
Moore. Yeah, it was Chris Moore, Traylon Burks,
And
and
Jalen Lane on
and
third down.
Jalen Lane. And on third down, and I'm like, Cliff, what are you doing? No
Stop that
Debo,
bullshit.
no Terry. But
Mhm.
then come second half, they were out there and they were eating. And then you saw Debo make plays. So it showed you what those two guys could do, and besides, like I said, they did this without number five. So it made me feel really good about what's to come.
Yeah, seeing actual wide receivers back on the field, that made all the difference. Like, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that's the most impressive performance I've ever seen Terry play. And I know people are going to say, Rio, he was on a snap count. He's had bigger days statistically. No, I saw that person. And I
I agree
watched
with
every
you.
time he lined up with PS2, and he was dogging that boy. Like there was a couple times where Mariota didn't look his way, or he didn't quick trigger it, or he threw it late.
Yeah, and he was open a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's again, that's the thing I'm saying. If Jaden plays, shoot, Terry might have had 150, 160 yards. And that's the thing. It looked to me like what we have been asking for years from Terry.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things that we've also been asking for is feed him.
Yep.
If he is your alpha and your number one, feed him the ball. Well, we saw that after they got out of that ridiculous pitch count and saw that the man's good. He's healthy. They started going to him, and when they went to him, every time a play happened, a big play happened, he just looked comfortable, man. And then you could tell he was feeding off the energy from the crowd too. That's what you wanted to see. That was a missed sight for sure.
Yeah. I'm not trying to feed into recency bias, but that is my favorite Terry McLaurin performance that I've seen, because the competition and who he's playing against and the way he was used. Terry, we usually use him on vertical routes and slants.
And
You've
spread
seen a
out. That's it.
combination of things. I saw posts, I saw outbreakers, I saw crossers. We were giving that boy the ball in every which way. I saw a full route tree. We got the whole Terry McLaurin experience, and that's what it looks like when you have one of those guys. If he wasn't on a pitch count, he might have got 10 to 12 targets, and that's what you do. I don't care how a defense guards your number one receiver. A real number one that you're giving real number one money, you force their ass to football, and I think we're going to see some of that from the starting quarterback and from the team as we push through these last 5 games of the season.
Yeah, and I hope that was a concerted effort, to do that, because you're right. I haven't seen that before. I've seen Terry normally eats because it's him, like he gets himself open, or he makes these tough body catches. No, that was the most fluid I've seen them use Terry since Cliff's been here. And
Mm-hmm.
again, if that's the way they're going to use him going forward, then I think everybody will be fine, because it's going to open up the game for other people as well. It opened up the running game. It opened up everything. Again, I think what we saw was a B plus performance by the offense, but a B plus because their main weapon, number 5, wasn't on the field. If
Yep.
Jaden's on the field and you know what he can do with his legs and just the versatility of his game, imagine how much Terry's going to eat now. Imagine how much Debo's going to eat now. That's why I'm saying, Rio, you got to play number 5, because you need to
Yeah.
see all this together to see what do you have to know what you're going in the next year with.
Yeah, I think actually it changes. The fan in me always is going to come out, because I know I want to spoon. I want to treat the kid gloves, the starting quarterback. I want to protect him at all costs. But
But you can't.
being there in person on Sunday night, I was like, oh yeah, they do got to play.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
There
they
is a
do got.
God. I'm telling you, man, because and let's be honest, Rio. Real talk here. If Jaden plays, they easily win that football game.
Yeah, they win that game Sunday. Which
They win that game going away. And this is again against the number one seed if the playoffs were to start today. You know what I'm saying? They had their way with them. They really did. Denver's defense, listen, I'm not making this stuff up. I had some Denver media people sitting right next to me in the press box, and they said this is the worst they've seen their defense look against an opponent
Yep,
in a
because that's a
long
top
time.
5 versus the pass and versus the rush defense. And if Marcus doesn't throw that crazy ass interception
Oh
that
my
happened
God.
right in front of my seat, like that shit was wild.
Bro, I know you wanted to go home when you saw that, because I literally wanted to come down on the field, man, from the press box and like just ask them, what are you doing? That was one of the worst outside of your boy from Minnesota. I don't know what he was thinking on his interception last week.
Mhm.
That might have been one of the worst thrown passes I've ever seen.
He was
I
like
don't
jump
know.
passing like Tebow.
He panicked. That's what happened. He looked like he got skittish in the pocket because he lost his balance, and then he just looked like he was totally discombobulated and just threw the ball up.
Mhm.
I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
what
it
are
was
you
wild.
doing? And that took some momentum from them because they were on the verge
Driving.
of driving, getting ready to get a score,
It was
and it
second
just
and
killed.
6, and we're like at the 30. What are you doing that for? Live to see another down, Marcus.
That's
You too
what I'm
old for that
saying.
shit.
Bruh, and then it's like which was worse, his throw or Bo Nick's throw when he hit Bobby in
Oh,
the middle of the field.
oh
I
no,
ain't seen there was no orange anywhere within 15
bro.
yards either
Bro, there's
direction.
not a Bronco in the frame. Not even in real life you could find a
That
Bronco.
was I was like, who was he throwing the ball to? Like that wasn't even throwing the ball away. He just hit Bobby in the numbers.
Yep, hit right
So
on him.
again, we saw two really bad passes, but the one from Marcus was a head scratcher because you're right. A veteran like that should know better. But that goes back to the week before Madrid or 2 weeks before Madrid. The overtime interception was just, what are you doing? But then reality hits.
Yep.
That's why Marcus has pretty much been a career backup. No offense, to the talent, but there's a reason why number five is number five and Marcus is his
Yep.
backup.
He played his ass off, though. He played with
He
guts.
absolutely did.
350 total yards on the day. Took him right down the field to tie it up and almost had a chance to win it in regulation, and
Hmm.
took him down there to win the game in overtime. I think we've used up our backup quarterback magic for the season, because at some point a spare tire, you're riding hubcap. It's not supposed to navigate you through the season. That shit's supposed to get you home from work, and you're supposed to put a new fresh tire back on that thing.
I like that.
We've used them up late.
I like that. I like that. It's a good analogy. And you're right. If you look at his career record, it's 1-5 as a starter with Washington. So I mean, it is what it is, man. Marcus is going to always keep you in the game, but I don't know if Marcus will win you the game. And that's where your franchise quarterback comes into play. You go back and you look at the Atlanta game and all the games that he's played, he beat some bad teams, of course. Last year when they got, Tennessee and Carolina, but for the most part, when they've played good teams, they've been in these games. They just can't pull them out at the end. And but that wasn't his fault, as far as the 2-point conversion. It was just a great defensive play. But overall, you're right, man. What's starting to shape up here too, Rio, when you look at Marcus and guys like that, even with Cliff, does this game kind of exonerate him from the criticism because he had his main weapon back on wide receiver wise in Terry, and the offense just looked much fluid. It looked
Yep,
more
it did.
fluid. They were versatile. They ran the ball. Zach Ertz over 100 yards. You know what I'm
Zach
saying?
Ertz with 10 catches for 100 yards in prime time. That he looking like he not trying to hang him up yet. And I need him to chill. I need him to
Well,
chill for a second. Hey, Zach.
but but see,
Wow.
that's what I've been trying to tell people. Like, this whole get rid of all these old guys. Why? Like, I'm not saying you got to bring Zach back and have him your starting tight end. He should probably be your number two at this point. Get yourself a number one tight end, but he still can play football. He proves that. Bobby Wagner is playing at a high clip, and everyone who's saying, "Oh, he can't cover in the middle of the field," that Evan Ingram play was a great play. It just was a great play. Bobby probably shouldn't be in that position. But the point is, he's still out there doing things, and I just think that what I'm seeing that's developing here is maybe Cliff, people need to get off his back a little bit, maybe myself included, because I saw what I think we would have seen all year offensively. Like they were able to run the football against Denver, and Denver, that's a great defense, and they did everything possible offensively against them with their backup quarterback. I think Cliff, these next 4 or 5 games with Terry and Jaden and maybe even Noah coming back, I'm curious to see how this thing unfolds now. That's why I'm saying, Rio, this is why you got to play Jaden, man.
Yeah, you do.
It's more than just that draft pick, man. It's like this is now must see TV to see what they can possibly be.
Yep. And speaking of must see TV, the longly anticipated NFC East Hard Knocks starts tonight. Happy Hard Knocks Day for those who celebrate. Hard Knocks will be on HBO Max and HBO as of 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. And what a debut it's going to be. We were in prime time in a thriller. The Cowboys were on Thanksgiving beating the Chiefs. The Eagles lost on Black Friday to the Bears and the Giants. We were all on prime time to start off Hard Knocks. You know, that was very intentional by the schedule makers.
Yeah, and you know what also is good about it is that we didn't lay a clunker of a game.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like the way they can narrate that is, all those lost season, this team showed you why they were in an NFC championship last year. I mean, there's a way you can narrate that thing. But yeah, man, I don't think Hard Knocks could have asked for a better week to get this thing launched,
Oh, yeah.
especially with the Eagles getting smacked. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
just like the Cowboys winning the way they did. I mean, yeah, man. I'm definitely gonna be tuning in tonight with the popcorn.
Yeah, it's gonna be lit on there. Despite how the seasons went, I'm always excited for Hard Knocks, and this is the most interesting division in the league. And this is my team on it. This is what I've always wanted. Even in a down year, I'm still excited to get more content of my team. I saw the NFL Films cameras. I saw them getting content with the fans on Sunday night, and that got me more excited about it. And what a game! We're gonna be fun on there. Our Sunday night game is gonna be one of the highlights of for episode one.
Absolutely. Only thing I was disappointed in on Sunday night was the fact that Denver didn't wear their throwbacks.
I know.
I was expecting that. I was expecting to get kind of like that euphoric feeling of, when Washington beat them in the Super Bowl. You might not
Sean
remember that,
Payton a
but
different kind of dude, though. He probably
oh, he
wouldn't
did
answer the
that
call.
intentionally. Oh, he did that intentionally. There's no doubt. I told somebody in the press box, you do realize he did this intentionally. I think because the history of them wearing those throwbacks, those originals
Mhm.
against Washington isn't good. So he tried to break that, and it kind of paid off. So
Okay, my next observation that I seen from Sunday night was that the numbers were there for him, and he ended up with over 300 yards passing. But Bo Nix is not that impressive, man. He's not. Watching him and Caleb Williams, their teams are balling, but they feel like passengers on stacked teams.
yeah, I'm glad you said that because that's how I feel. And people get mad at me. They say, "Oh, you hating on Caleb?" I'm like, I think he's a good football player.
He's very talented.
They're talented. Him and Bo are talented. But when I see Jaden, when I see Drake May, they're on a whole nother level. There is no
Yeah.
doubt about it. They're on a whole nother level. And a healthy Jaden, again, the reason why he was
Nix is a
rookie of the year
gamer though.
last year.
Like I think
Oh no,
I
he's a
think
baller.
Nix is better than Caleb right now, which is crazy. But Nix
I
is a
a hundred
gamer. We
percent
were, he
agree.
had him looking like Mahomes a couple throws, but he also makes some of the stupidest throws I've ever seen.
I mean, hence the touchdown pass when he's falling to it almost on his knee. He
Mhm.
was a couple inches away from having that play be down, but he made a great play. And he's just a gamer. But you can see the flaws. You can clearly see the flaws. Same thing with Caleb. Caleb is a gamer, but you can clearly see the flaws, and you can still see that they both have training wheels on. Not so much Bo anymore, but Caleb still has training wheels on. You can see it. For all those people out there that have been talking about that they're better than, look at their teams and look at what they're doing with those teams, they're better than Jaden. Nah, man, don't do that. That's lunacy talking right there. Yeah, you might be able to say Drake May's going to have an MVP season, but I still don't see him being better than Jaden when Jaden's healthy. But I think all these teams have young quarterbacks that they're going to grow with, that they're going to be around for a long time. But I clearly feel like Washington's in the head start, and New England's coming up real quick as far as Drake May on Jaden.
Yeah, it feels like when Jaden's on, May is the only peer as of right now. Like Bo
That's
Nix
it.
is good and Caleb good sometimes, but I don't see no one other than Drake May can hold Jaden's jockstrap at this point through the first year and
A
three
hundred
fourths
percent.
of their second season.
Yep, 100% true. 100% true. And and the difference is that with Drake, he didn't come right in and play. He had to work his way in, so the game got a chance to slow down for him, and now he looks really good. Obviously, MVP candidate. He wouldn't be my MVP, but I see why people are saying that. I don't know if it's him carrying New England, which I don't think it is. I think it's a collective effort,
He
and they
hooping
have,
though.
yeah, no. He's balling. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll find out all this stuff real soon when the playoffs come. This is when I need to see, because the irony is with all these teams, guess what they're benefiting from that Washington benefited from last year? Fourth place schedules. That's
Yep.
just that's
Yeah, they're
you're
the Patriots are us last year. That's why I want to see what they look like in the
mhm,
playoffs, because the way
mhm.
that the AFC is shaping out, if an elite quarterback gets in the playoffs as a wild card, they're going to run the conference, because the Patriots, the Colts, and the Broncos being the best team in the conference, they got to prove to me. They got to
Yeah,
prove to me something.
yeah, I don't see it. And I'm telling you right
Yeah.
now, the worst thing that could have happened to those three teams you just named was Pittsburgh going out and losing, because it saved Baltimore. Because
And
Baltimore,
Cincinnati got a shot
yeah,
now too.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But so think of those quarterbacks we
Hmm.
on those teams.
Yep.
All have been in those type of situations before. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I've been saying this before. If Kansas City or Baltimore got in the playoffs, nobody would want to see them.
Yep.
Kansas City's not making it though. So
It doesn't
they're
look
they're
like
they're
they're getting in
they're
this year.
they're not getting in. There's no
Mhm.
way. They'd have to run the table, and I don't think they're good enough to run the table, because they still got some good tough games coming up too. So it's a wild, wide open, wacky NFL season this year. Like, just when you think you have it figured out, Carolina beats the Rams. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't know who's going to win on any given weekend. Washington probably should have beat Denver, and I don't think many people saw that coming. And the way they handled them was impressive as well. So
Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, get your life together, because he looks like not himself right now. And
they
I
look
don't
a
know
little
what the
off.
Bills are, but those are the teams you circle, because I'm taking Allen and Lamar over Denver, New England, and Indianapolis, like in a heartbeat.
Yeah, matter of fact, that's my AFC Championship game. And I said it early in the year. I said it before the season that I had Washington and Baltimore in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I'll be wrong about one, but I have Baltimore winning the Super Bowl against Washington. And, so my pick is still open. It's still there. We'll see how it plays out though. But I agree with you. Lamar got to get it together, because he looks a little off. That doesn't look like what we've seen, from him over the years.
And then after what's transpired on Thanksgiving Day, now all of a sudden, Dallas could be creeping up to take a shot at the NFC East. That tie might have saved them and put them in position. And with Washington having all these divisional games late, we could be at the point where we're playing spoiler. We got the Eagles twice late. As a person who was like, F it, just lose out, I need one of them games versus the Eagles, because we can't be the only team in the East that gets swept by the Eagles this year. The Giants got them, Cowboys got them. We got to get them at least one.
And see, that's the thing. Like, think about the off season that's coming here. If you can say you beat Dallas, you beat the Giants, and you swept Philadelphia and kept them from winning the division, and opened it up for another candidate for what, 23 straight years. That's the way it's looking right now. Maybe not the sweep of Philadelphia, but at least getting one on them. And if you're playing Jaden, you're not playing against the Eagles to lose. You're playing to beat them. And
Mhm.
again, I think you can serve notice. Somebody told me today, matter of fact, when I was on ESPN, that you still have an opportunity, because they still have a chance to do something within the division that could get them in the playoffs. And I'm like,
But
nah,
that's
bro,
not
they,
happening.
they, ain't- they ain't making
We
the
gotta let that
playoffs. So
shit go.
stop that. But
Let
you,
that
but
go,
you,
man.
but you can get dubs against all those teams in the division still. But playoffs, nah, they ain't happening. So stop thinking
Yeah.
that.
In my ideal world, they put Jaden out there. The offense looks great. The defense finds ways to lose them games, which I could see happening in every one of the games coming up on our schedule. But that's what it looks like. So the next conversation goes to, before we talk about the defensive side of the ball and some of the young guys from Sunday, is how soon do you think Jaden returns? But before we get to that, here's a quick word from today's sponsors at Sleeper.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using code RIO91. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
RIO91 on Sleeper, but you were out there last week. Jaden Daniels was back like he never left at practice. I saw him giving out turkeys last week. How soon is he back on the field? Are we talking as soon as this week, Lee?
Yeah, I think so. One thing I did notice though, Rio, is that, during pregame when he was out there, coming over and hugging fans and stuff, he kept his arm down, like almost like everything else was like this. He was hugging people,
very stiff and tight to his side.
But that arm was stuck to the side, and there was no sling or anything on it. At least you couldn't tell through his coat. But it looked a little sore to me. So
it looks like they've directed him not to do anything with his left side, because I saw him handing out turkeys. I saw him handing out turkeys. That left arm did not do a single thing. He wasn't even putting the left arm out there to dap people up
bro,
embrace.
That's okay. That's what I'm saying. So I ain't want to I'm not trying to start nothing up. People Lake Lewis reporting.
I seen it. That man was one hand handing out turkeys.
Literally. And people told me too, you was hugging this little girl and taking pictures with folks, and it was like that arm never left his side. So unless that's just what he's been directed to do, to let it just rest, that didn't look to me like somebody that's going to be playing against a blitz heavy defense.
I don't think he's playing this week, but I want to know from you, who's actually out there, do you think he's playing this week?
No. No, I don't. I think they keep him out another week and they get him ready for these NFC East games, and he'll be ready, and at that point. But I think Marcus, has shown enough, and obviously with Terry back, it changes the dynamics of stuff. And let's be honest, Minnesota's offense stinks right now. I mean, they got Justin Jefferson, of course, but he's
in hell with Brosmer and JJ McCarthy.
That's bad. That might be the worst quarterback room right now in the league, man. Seriously. Yeah. And you already know what I'm about to say though. Yep. But they might come out this week though.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody I've seen our fans after the way we played Sunday, they're like, chalk up the W in Minnesota next week. I said, too much dip on your chip. Have you seen our defense play football? This is how my eyes view this matchup. Don't worry about the quarterbacks. Who's guarding Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson from this current defense?
I don't
quarterback don't got to work hard when receivers open. He don't got to work that hard.
That's what I'm saying. And you don't get a pass rush on these guys either to make them uncomfortable. Then everything leans to Minnesota. To me, and Washington's favored in this game. So that was a surprise to me when I saw that. That was a shocker to me. But again, I agree with you. Teams have gotten right on the Washington's defense, and although they did perform better this week, they still got moved on at will. And before the half, 5 plays, 76 yards. It was 3 minutes. They just went right down the field on them. They did it again in overtime. They can't stop anybody. They just can't. And outside of Bobby being hit right in the numbers, they're not creating turnovers. Bruh, they had balls laying down at their feet Sunday and couldn't get it. Javon Kinlaw somersaulted a football that was on the ground. They just didn't look comfortable. So yeah, man, this isn't one of them games that you can just chalk up as a W. They still got to go out and earn it. So it's just one you just got to go back and watch.
Yeah, I don't think that Jaden is playing this week, but I think we're getting close. I think fans are getting hyped up. Oh, they saw his mom at the game and she said he'll be back next week. Don't worry about stuff like that. I don't see. Yeah. I watched that man hold his left arm tight to his body like it was taped, handing out Thanksgiving turkey.
Bruh, his arm looked like it was paralyzed, bro. Let's be honest, man. I'm not even fronting, man. When I saw that, I literally Hey man, Donna Hopkins. That's my fam. She said,
Mhm.
Look at Jaden," and I said, "Oh, you
He
see
looked
it too."
comfortable on the sidelines and overtime and stuff, but like I don't know. I don't think we're gonna see him this week.
I mean, when he was around fans who were adoring fans who wanted hugs and stuff, that arm never moved. So that doesn't look like a confident boost. If you want to see number 5 on the field going up against that defense in Minnesota, you can say what you want about their offense, but Brian Flores' defense comes every play.
Exactly.
And they're home. So yeah, I probably could see Jaden, not playing this week and then coming home and playing against what the Giants. So
Well,
that's
no, that's
that.
on the road.
I'm
That's on the
sorry. I'm
road.
sorry. I'm
Yep.
sorry. Against
The Giants on the road.
no, against the Giants on the road. So yeah, I
Yep.
could see that. Yeah.
Oh man, so another week with the spare tire. We ride the donut one more time for the one time. But defensively, how do you gauge their performance on Sunday? Because we got zero. Bo Nix was comfortable the majority of the night. The few times we got close to Bo Nix, we couldn't get him down because Bo Nix is slippery and he's a gamer. So he was finding ways to get out of it. Louisville made a play for the first time in what feels like 8 weeks. And we just don't have the bodies out there. We're starting Jonathan Jones on Igbenogany on the outside. They didn't play a bad game. They didn't give up no 80, 100-yard receivers. The tight ends got active on the Broncos side, and we didn't give up too much rushing. But anytime they needed a play, it felt like they made one, and there was little resistance.
Yeah, I give them a C because I think they played average football. That's better than what they have been playing because they've been playing F football for a long time this year. In the game in Madrid, I gave them a C as well. So it's the same kind of effort. The energy was there, the effort was there, but the results aren't there, and they're not generating any type of pass rush. And we understand why with the injuries that they've had. But there was one play in particular that had me scratching my head, and it was seeing Von Miller in coverage.
Oh my
And I
God.
just
I was
I,
in the stands going crazy. Why?
that's what I'm saying, man.
Why?
So it's unless it was a blown coverage, which it didn't look like. It looked like he was told to back up, and the play was made right in front of him for a first down. Those are the type of things that still have me scratching my head. Like, why are guys being asked to do things? Because we were sold 2 years ago that this coaching staff was never going to put a guy in position to do stuff that they're not comfortable doing. And yet we see it all the time. I mean, there were a couple bright spots. I thought Will Harris coming back made a huge difference on the back end. He's their starting free safety, and that's the way it should be. It should stay that way. He just looked better and more comfortable, and he was out there hitting people too.
He
He
was.
broke up a play in the end zone,
Played the
on
wood.
the yeah. So he had a game. I talked to him in the locker room afterwards, Candy and me, and it was like, he kept saying that they just gotta keep working. They gotta keep working. He said the talent's there. They gotta keep working. So I mean, they're doing the best they can, but they just don't have, like you said, they don't have the bodies or the weapons right now to be able to sustain anything. They might make a play here or there, but it's not something you can consistently keep throwing. I would like to see them blitz a little bit more on defense, because
Why don't
quarterbacks
we?
are just, I don't know, man. Like they were only bringing 3 pass rushers or
We
three
don't
down
get pressure.
linemen.
Why? What are we? Why are we so? Have we
Yeah,
just given up on trying to sack quarterbacks?
That's what it looked like to me because it looked like, Payne, Kinlaw, and Preston Smith. That was it. And I'm like,
Yes.
you're trying to tell me that you can't blitz Frankie, you can't, hell, I'll run Bobby up in there. You telling me you can't blitz Mikey off the corner, off the edge. And that was another good sign too. When they put Mikey on the outside, he just looked totally different. He looked more comfortable out there. I'd like to see him stay out there, for the rest of the year to see if that's where he naturally should be, because I think we all agree he should be on the outside.
Does Johnny Newton play on Sundays?
Man, I am that is the biggest head scratcher for me on this season, Rio. Like
Yep.
I was expecting for this guy, honestly, man, when they drafted him, I was like, this guy within 2 years is going to be a Pro Bowl caliber
Yo,
player.
we was beating the drum on. Oh, this is a
Yeah,
first
yeah,
round pick.
bro, he has that kind of talent. I don't know what's going on because he is he's almost invisible out there now. You don't
Mhm.
see the motor, you don't see the plays. Is he hurt? I don't know, but that does not look like a guy that you have your future, plays a big part of your future. I don't see what's going on. I don't see it right now.
Nope. I don't see the vision with him. He's not. I'm seeing the international pathway player look like he's flashing more than we
He
got
sure
rugby
does.
players playing over Johnny Newton. Johnny Newton doesn't do anything for this football team at this point, and that was our first of 3 second-round picks last year. I think it's time that we give Johnny Newton some of the same vitriol we give Ben Sinnott on the offensive side, because they are hand in hand, not giving this team much of any contribution so far through a year and a half.
Man, they're just wearing a uniform. That's it. That's pretty much all it is. And like it'd be one thing if you saw him busting up things on special teams or something, getting close to block field goals or something. You don't see anything. And even
Nope.
with Ben, when they tout, oh, Ben made a great block on a play. Come on, man. Like, really? That's what he's supposed to
I
do.
saw Ben Sinnott miss a block
I saw him miss the block,
that
huge
would have
block.
sprung a big play.
Yes, that's the stuff we're talking about. Like, is it time to chalk up that you just whiffed on those two picks? Is it time to do that? Because I can say this when people say, "What about BC?" And I'm like, no, Brandon. When they put him in on spot duty, he actually does well.
Yes.
They're gonna have to find a way to get him back on that lineup. But Chris Paul's been playing so well. It's like, what do you do? But Brandon has acquitted himself as far as I'm concerned. But the other guys, Johnny and Ben, like man, but especially with Johnny, he was the Big Ten defensive player of the year. This guy was I was comparing him to Aaron Donald. Like I'm dead serious. I was like his size, he's not the biggest guy, but he's got this tremendous burst and he's got a great motor. I don't see it now. I don't see it at all.
Oh man, that very disappointing. Hey, Adam Peters, you got to lock in 2026. That's a critical off season coming up, because there's a lot of swings and misses on that side through 2 drafts so far on this team, and a player I would really like to see play. I have no confidence that Noah Brown's going to touch a football field. I believe that shit when I see it, but I would like to see the young edge rusher that Adam Peters knows from San Francisco. How close are we to
Jackson.
Drake Jackson touching the field? Because all we got is Jacob Martin. Like, we don't have pass rushers right now. How soon can we see him touch a field?
I think Drake might be on the field this Sunday. I truly believe that, and I know he was close last week. I think they might activate him and see him on there, and I want to see them give some of these young guys these opportunities because obviously you picked him up because you think he can play. You picked him up to kind of steal him, stash him away, get him rehabilitated, so to speak, and get him on the field. Well, now it's time because it can't get any worse.
Right.
They're not getting any kind of pass rush whatsoever, and they're only bringing three, like I said. So get this guy on the field and see what he can do, and see if he plays into your future for next year.
We need to see some young talent on the field, and we need to see anything. I don't even know what number Drake Jackson wears because we haven't seen him touch a field for us yet. We signed him immediately. I R'd him. They probably got him in something like 93 or something, some edge rushing type number. But I just want to see a Jacob Martin, a Drake Jackson edge room for a whole game or two so I can see if they're going to be a part of this thing going forward. A guy who looks like maybe a potential new Noah Brown for this team. Traylon Burks might have made the greatest catch I've seen a Washington receiver catch in a game before. Definitely the best catch I've ever seen in person.
Yeah, no, that was phenomenal, man. I mean, and it goes to show you he did that with a broken finger still. So, I mean, it goes to show you why he was a first round draft pick, why he was a guy that a lot of people favored, to an AJ Brown, to a Debo Samuel, a big physical guy. And Washington needs that. Let's be honest. That's been the one thing they've been devoid of in their wide receiver room for some time now is a big physical receiver.
Above the
They've had
rim.
Yeah, exactly. They've had some physical guys like Pierre and even Santana. They were smaller guys, but they were physical. But I mean a big body guy.
Mhm.
And if you can get these kind of contributions from him and pair him, say, with a Terry and Debo, um, I don't think people will be missing Noah Brown, to be honest with you. And that's not, and I don't want to keep throwing shade at Noah because a lot of people have, but he is what he is. He's
That
always
ship is
injured.
sailed for real.
Yeah. He's always been injured. So I think with for Traylon Burks and with Luke, don't forget Luke has he's played
Big Luke.
himself in. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's played himself into, and he's a physical guy too. And you got Jalen Lane as more of your slot guy, speed guy. I really like what this thing can be, man. But I want to see a lot more of Traylon Burks, and I want to see his number call some more too.
Yeah, the thing with Burks is I'm not going to sit here like some fans and pretend that he could be the number 2 because I
No.
don't need him to be that. He could be new Noah Brown. He could be the
Yeah.
interchangeable 3-4 guy above the rim. Jaden needs a guy that my big guy's down there. I'm going to put the ball in the air. He can go get it. On the goal line, he's on one-on-one. I'm going to throw the ball up, go get the football. We need one of those on the roster. And he's a young guy because, we need young guys. Roster's trying to get younger. I'm with it. And maybe we should throw him some of these tightly contested third down deep balls that we keep throwing to Jalen Lane. I don't know why we keep trying to make fetch happen with Jalen Lane in tight windows, but he can't catch, man. He can't catch the football.
Bro, when they threw that deep ball to him, someone's like, "Oh no, it's a great defensive play when he
was
knocked it out."
perfect.
I said, "Hey man, stop. Does Terry make that catch? Of course he does. Does Noah maybe make that catch or Debo? Of course they do. And that's not Jalen Lane's game. It's almost like they're asking again guys to do things that's not in their repertoire. That was a ball that clearly a Traylon Burks would go up and get and fight for.
He's a
That
returner. That throw was perfect. That throw does not get better than that.
No, it was perfect, and it was put in the area where the receiver has to come down with it.
Yep.
It was the same thing with Zach Ertz in the back of the end zone. I mean, it was a perfect throw that you just have to come down with the ball.
Yep. And
but
that 3rd and 25 that Ertz dropped in the 4th quarter too. See, Marcus could have about 400 yards if they didn't leave all this on the field.
He could have, and those are the type of things where it's like, okay, Cliff, nice play call, but maybe the person that you chose to be the recipient of that pass, maybe it should be somebody else, and that's like one time I saw a bubble screen, not this game, but in the past several games, a bubble screen to John Bates. I'm like, no, there's got to be somebody else that you can call the same play, but a different person. And that's where you do want to see like the young guys like Traylon Burks, who's proven now that they can go up and get that thing, like you said, above the rim. That catch, man, was probably one of the top 5 catches in Commanders or Redskins history. I mean, if you just look at what was done,
Best
it
catch
was
I've
that
ever seen.
it was that phenomenal, and
Yeah.
he never put his other hand on the ball the whole time. That's a masterclass in a 50-50 ball. That's what that looks like. That's what Jay Gruden was trying to do with was it Grant or Josh Doxson. That's what that
Cam
was
Sims.
supposed to look like. Exactly.
Cam Sims type shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I forgot about Cam Sims. My goodness gracious.
He went up and dunked that thing on it. You need one of those hoopers above the rim type receivers in the room. Jalen Lane is just a punt returner to me. I'm no longer going to factor him into the wide receiver room until I can actually see something to believe in, because I've seen far too many drops on perfect passes for him this year. He could be having a completely different rookie year if those drops didn't take place. But I'm glad to see Traylon Burks make some plays. Noah Brown, I would like to see him out there at some point this year, but I don't know if he'll ever touch the field as a Washington Commander again until I see it. He's getting closer. You've seen him out in the practice field. Do you think he's coming back anytime soon?
I actually think he's coming back this weekend, but when I see Jaden, walking limp arm the way he was, it made me wonder, like, do they keep both of those guys out one more week and get them back for the NFC? But I'm telling you, Noah's got to play because they've got to assess this thing, man. They do. They've got to see when you have a guy like a Traylon Burks making a catch like he's had and having a little bit of an impact. It does. It makes you think, could he take Noah's spot? So if I'm Noah, I want to be out on the field to see how I mesh with all this stuff too. I mean, there's a chance you could have all of them coming back next year, which is no one's going to scoff at that. But if Noah's injury history keeps showing up and he can't keep getting on the field, it might be time to part ways if they can't get him on the field.
Yep. And a question, yeah, he caught that with the finger that he broke. Yeah, that's
That's what
wild.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And didn't even use the other hand at all, even to like cradle it or bring it down. They don't like Ja'Cory Brooks. They have no belief in that brother on playing in 2025 because this is the bottom of the barrel that we've seen at wide receiver at points this year, and they still haven't called. They've brought up Jacoby. They've brought in River, Craig Craft. They've done everything but play Ja'Cory Brooks. I thought he would have got some burn. He was getting hella clock in preseason and in training camp.
He was. I thought he was making the roster. I had him as my sixth receiver, and they decided to only keep 5, which was kind of a telltale sign right there. Like maybe they just don't see it. But my thing is, you brought him in as an undrafted free agent, and you gave him opportunities. He was making plays in preseason, I mean, or in training camp he was. So it's surprising to see that maybe he hasn't developed like they thought. But normally when you don't get a guy on the field at all, there's layers to it, and he obviously for them to put him basically on IR, like he's done for the season pretty much without an injury. Yeah, that tells you a lot right there.
It does. It tells you a whole bunch, man. And there is a wide receiver that will forever be linked to this team because who his best friend is, who he got caught passes from in college, and who the general manager of the team. They keep linking Brandon Ayuk, if released from the Niners, to the Washington Commanders. So I ask you again, if the 49ers release Ayuk, would you go get Brandon Ayuk? And do you think Adam Peters and company are going to get Brandon Ayuk?
Yes, if he's released by the 49ers, not only do I think Washington takes a look at it, I think they get him, and Jayden will be pushing for that too. You can never have enough weapons. It's just, what you saw from Terry the other night. Terry's entrenched. We know that. But with Debo, the question is, are you going to bring in a San Francisco guy and let another one leave? Or are you bringing them all in so that you have a nucleus of receivers? But then you see what Traylon Burks does, and, he's still young and is a first-round talent still. And you saw Luke emerge, and, like, could there be a thing of having too many wide receivers, too many bodies? Because that's what would happen if you were to go out and get Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at it. I mean, I think conversations would need to be had at that point. If you bring in Ayuk, I don't think you could do Terry, Ayuk, and Debo. You need to bring Ayuk at a lower number, and you need to get a younger receiver in free agency. And you also still need to draft a young receiver at some point with your 6 draft picks in 2026. I wouldn't let the Ayuk signing stop me from getting young talent in the room still.
Oh no. I mean, you look at teams like Kansas City, for instance. They have guys that, remember, Hollywood Brown was a number 1 when he was in Baltimore. The brief time he was there, he was a number 1. When he was in Oklahoma in college, he was great. Rashee Rice is their number 1 right now. There's no doubt about that. But Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, they have all these guys that at some point in their career were expected to be a number 1. Yeah. And now collectively, they just have one out there, of course, but the other guys are like complementary pieces. So would that be the situation if you were to go out and get an Ayuk who's coming off a knee injury? Terry would be clear-cut number 1, but who would be the number 2? Would it be Ayuk? I think you could get Ayuk cheap too because of the injury, because of the contract being voided. You probably could get him cheaper than you would maybe even having to pay Debo. So that's going to be the interesting development right there.
Yeah, that the numbers part, that's going to be it. But if he gets released, no matter what you feel about the situation, he's going to sign here. He's going to sign here.
It's done. It's done because this is where he wants to be. Let's call it like it is.
He wants to be with his boy.
He wants to be with his boy. And Adam has an affinity for these 49er players. So everything, put it like this. if you put this on DraftKings or FanDuel, the odds of him, where is he going to end up?
Next
Washington's
destination.
one. Washington is the destination for sure.
Yeah, and there should be like a huge gap between the next team on the list because he definitely wants to be there. It's all health for me. I need to know that his knee is not pulled pork. I need to know that knee, because he tore his ACL and his MCL
And a
in week 7.
meniscus.
Yeah,
And a meniscus.
yes, and a meniscus, and that was in week 7 of 2024. Hasn't touched the football field in 2025. So that's all him in rebellion. That's all him and just trying to work his way and weasel his way out of San Francisco. Or is rehab not been what? Has it been a setback? I need more information on the knee at this point, because I don't want to bring in a 28-year-old no knee having receiver just because he likes my quarterback.
Let's put it this way. When you see what's going on with Juwan Jennings out there, and the stuff that he's pulling, you trying to fight everybody all the time. Naturally, you would think IU could be being worked back in, right? Nah, that I think you hit it on the head.
Yes, and he ain't
I
going
think
to
this is
meetings.
this is a sign of I don't want to be here, and I'm going to do whatever I can to guarantee you don't want me here. Because he wants to be in Washington. There's no doubt. I don't even think it's about the money now. I think he wants to be in a place where he can ball out and have fun. And I think he wants to do that with Jaden. There's even talk of Brian in Jacksonville, surfacing again. Like maybe they trade him and they do move on from him. So there's all these opportunities. Brian Thomas, I'm talking about. There's all these opportunities to get more weapons to come in here. But let's be honest, if Terry's balling like he balled the other night, and we know he's capable of being that guy every game, which over his career he's proven, I think you just need to fill in the blanks after that, because Terry's your number one.
Yep, he's definitely your number one. But if he gets released, if he gets what he wants and he gets released from San Francisco, I definitely see Brandon Ayuk being here. I got one more thing from you after this last commercial break, and then I'm going to let you get up out of here, and we can talk a little bit more about this Minnesota Vikings game. But holidays are coming up. If you need some tickets to a concert, a game, etc., use my code RIO10 on SeatGeek right now and get some tickets under your Christmas tree. I've been looking to find the best deal on Washington Commanders tickets for the 2025 season, which is why I want to give the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek, a huge shout out. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sporting events, festivals, and more. The NFL is right around the corner, and MLB is in full swing. I love using SeatGeek. Recently used it, lock in my training camp tickets. Most notably, I was at the Grand National Tour with my son, Kendrick Lamar, and SZA at Northwest Stadium. SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 through 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. So look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And you know I had to come through for y'all using promo code RIO10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code RIO10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically sent to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek, for sponsoring this video. So, Lake, if they go out to Minnesota and fix the worst quarterback room in this league, it off on them Sunday, what does that say about Dan Quinn's defense?
I mean, I can't possibly see how Minnesota could shred up this defense the way their offenses look. However, to answer your question, if they did, that would be a bad look for Washington. That would everybody's already moved on from Joe Witt. You know what I mean? Like when you see him walking into the locker room before the game, it's like, damn. Like, okay, you got demoted. Can you demote yourself if you're the coach?
So
can Dan say I can't call defense now? if they get shredded by Minnesota's offense, it's going to be, you're going to have to go out and get a defensive coordinator. You're going to
Like,
have to.
I'm not trying to be that guy and unnecessarily stir things up, but if you don't beat this Minnesota team, there's a world where you don't get another win this year, because as the Giants aren't worse than us. They may be a game worse than us in standing, but they're not a worse football. They can definitely beat us too. You're looking at potentially, what if we lost 7 games in a row right now, late?
Seven in a row.
From 3-2 to 3-9, and that would be 8 games in a row, and the worst quarterback room in the league. Like, Brosmer and McCarthy are struggling to throw for 100 yards every time they touch a field, but Jettas is a top 2 receivers in the league. Jordan Addison is one of the best number 2 options in the league. TJ Hawkinson is one of the better tight ends in the league. And Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones, they can get it done in the backfield when they need to. And Kevin O'Connell is one of those guys. You know what fixes a bad offense or a bad quarterback room? Wide open receivers. Who's covering these guys? I don't see the answer. Noah Igbenogany, Jonathan Jones, and Mikey Sanders still. Yeah, we got Will Harris back, and I'm glad to have it. But I see them having a lot more space to operate with, and a quarterback that's not going to be under that much pressure. And it still scares me.
Nah, I mean, as it should. I mean, this defense in Washington hasn't given anyone any confidence that they can go out and dominate a
None.
game and shut people down. They just haven't done it. They'll make a play here, they'll make a play there, but a consistent effort where they just dominate. You got to go all the way back to week 1 where you saw a really good defensive effort by this
Correct.
team. Um, Maybe you could say the Raiders, but the Raiders had a guy, a number 2 receiver throw up 100 on them. So yeah, I think that was the only game this year where I saw a good defense play like a good defense, and that was against the Giants. So yeah, if they go into Minnesota with the mentality that all of a sudden they've arrived because they played Denver close, they played Miami close, that's not good. You got to go up in there and you got to put some pressure on whoever the quarterback is, make life uncomfortable from them immediately. Because if you see Minnesota go down the field in the first quarter, like first drive, then you already know what's coming. You already know there's no answers here once again.
Yep. And I don't know why anyone would have the confidence that I don't know what anyone have the confidence that we're going to slow them down, because this defense is not stop. Like, we have to congratulate and applaud any progress we've seen, and we just don't have the horses, man. We don't have guys to get to the quarterback. We're not getting much from Kinlaw and Payne on the inside. We get nothing from Johnny Newton. Our linebackers are what they are, and the secondary, they're doing their best. But this is a tall task with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and company coming up on Sunday. And I don't know why fans in a 3-9 season are chalking up a W, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, they performed admirably against Denver and, almost had a chance to be one of the best teams in the league. But, you're going on the road and that's a hostile environment, I think it's US Bank Stadium. I mean,
Yep.
that's a tough place to play, man. They got the skull chant and all that stuff. I'm greatly looking forward to it. This has been one of the places I've been wanting to get to. This will be my first time going there, ironically. So, had this one penciled in for a while just to see what the atmosphere and the stadium's like and all that. So yeah, man, they just got to come out and bring some heat, literally bring some heat, because it's supposed to be -2 on Sunday in Minnesota. So yeah, man, I'm gonna have to go bundled up for this one.
It's a nice little dome over there. Go ahead, scout that stadium, because the people who made that stadium will be making our new one here in DC. But
Mhm.
Hard Knocks starting tonight. It should be a fun one. Washington's first time being featured on it. Have y'all been seeing them around at practice or anything yet?
Oh yeah, they've been everywhere, like all year. They've been there. So I mean, and that's the thing, like they have literally been there all year. And sitting in the media room with us in the locker room. So yeah, I'm interested to see. I want to see if I get if I get at least 10 seconds of some hard knock airtime, that'd be nice. Get some royalties.
Get some HBO action. You've been putting it on at the stadium. My boy been clean with it. Let the folks know what you got going on this week and where to find you, follow you, sub your channel, and all that good stuff, man.
Oh yeah, man. Just first of all, appreciate it always coming on here with you. Get great fanfare and great rapport with people telling us that they watch this. So
Mhm.
that's always a good look. You can check me out on social media, Lake Lewis Jr. And it's probably best to just do that because there's a lot of stuff going on that I have coming up. Literally, this week, the end of the week and beginning of next week, we'll be starting some promos with me being on ESPN and excited about that. And yeah, you'll hear the show on there. And then of course, you can see my stuff on CBS 6 too as well. So yeah, it's a lot more stuff coming up. So just check me out on my socials. Definitely check out the IG because I've been doing a lot more stuff on my IG
Yep,
as
I
well.
see you, man. I see you
Yeah.
as always, man. Y'all follow up my guy, sub him up, all that good stuff. We're up to Minnesota this week. Me and Lake don't think Jaden's coming back this week, but we shall see. Maybe he's been instructed to keep his arm limp to his body and to not move that shit, but we're going to see. That's all we got for right now. Commander Rio, Lake Lewis Jr., we are out for the day. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Talk soon, everybody.